Hi folks, and welcome back to the channel. So this is a new thing that we're going to be doing. It's called Creators Corner. And basically it's a conversation amongst friends, YouTube creators and myself, and I record it. And we just talk about our channels, what we're doing, why we're doing it, where we started, just general chit chat. You know, everybody does their own channels for their own reasons, and everybody puts out different content. Whether that's a horror-related channel, or whether it's a vape-related channel, or movie reactors, music reactors, that sort of thing. This is the first one. I've got at least one more scheduled. I don't know when that's going to come up, but this is kind of a long video. It's almost 45 minutes, give or take. So, you know, settle in and get ready, because I think it's an interesting conversation, and I think it was a pretty entertaining one. So our first episode is going to be Jen and Christian from Jen's Reviews from the Grave. They are horror YouTubers, and let's just go ahead and get into the interview. Y'all enjoy. The link to their channel will be down in the description, along with all the rest of the stuff for my Teespring, Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, Amazon, and advocacy links as always. But their link will be the first link in the description. So y'all enjoy the interview, and y'all have a good one. Alright, so how did you guys get started in YouTube? What made you decide that your opinions were so much better than everybody else's?
Well, I was watching a few people on YouTube because I kind of had the idea around for a while.
Yeah, you had been wanting to do it since we started 2016. You wanted to be doing it since like 2012, 2013, I want to say.
Yeah.
You were wanting to do it a lot earlier on and never got around to it. And then I told you one day, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Either nobody sees it or you get somewhere.
He was my biggest cheerleader. He really was. He was my biggest cheerleader. And I was watching a few people doing it, and I thought, I think I could do that. And I do seem to know a little bit about horror. So I thought to myself, I'm going to just try it. And that's how. And then I needed Christian because my reviews were so long to do the solo reviews, and the vlog style was a lot.
Yeah, the two of us just kind of shooting back and forth, because we wanted to talk about like newer stuff, because we had been seeing a lot of the newer stuff, and we were like, okay, this is really cool, but it's hard to shoot like separate individual videos with like little skits and kind of loosely scripted them out and stuff. So we're like, let's just shoot them, just us sitting on the couch talking about them.
Vlog style. Yeah. So that's how it got started. And we both love horror.
Yeah.
How scared were you the first video?
Terrified.
She was horrified.
Terrified. In fact, I was wishing I was just terrified.
Yeah, you were horrified that first video.
I figured people were going to either completely ignore it, or they were going to go, "You're the worst thing ever. Don't get on camera ever again. Signed, everybody." That's how scared I was.
Yeah.
And I was surprised when I got people like actually seemed to kind of start to dig the stuff.
Yeah, it took a few years, but like I think Sleepaway Camp, when you did those, was kind of the point when people were like, oh, started to notice you, like, oh, she actually is kind of good at this.
Well,
she has some interesting takes.
Well, I'm okay at it.
Yeah.
Well, you have your own way of doing it. My first video is like 3.5 minutes long, including a 30-second intro on it, and I don't think I breathed the entire time. I got out what I wanted to say, but I said it so fast, and I was so nervous. and ended up sitting there trying to edit it with the worst program ever.
I feel
because
your
the
pain.
the only video editor that I had at the time is the one that comes with Windows.
Oh no.
Exactly.
I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
So I'm trying to edit this down. It's like I said, it's only 3 minutes. I never breathed the entire time anyway. So then I just said, screw it. I'm not editing nothing. If I mess it up, it's going in. I'm human like everybody else. So
Yeah. And it's authentic. That's
Yeah.
authentic.
That's a very good
authentic.
mindset to have about it, honestly.
Yeah.
Plus, with
I
the
take it a
editor,
little
everything's so choppy. You can't.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. So, what's a movie that you have a really high opinion of that a lot of people don't?
We have a few. I think Leatherface, the one that came 2016 is one that a lot of people don't like that we really enjoyed. Phantasm
Phantasm 5 is really good.
That we do have unpopular opinions. We really dug Transfiguration, and a lot of people did not like that movie at all.
Was too slow, even found and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, and that's one thing I'm really proud about the channel is that we will always give you our honest opinions, even if we know it might ruffle some feathers. We always fair and honest. We really do believe that.
Yeah.
So but I always try to also find at least one positive, even if I really dislike a movie. I very rarely will I just say, there's
nothing of redeeming value in this.
Yeah. Yeah, I always try to find at least one positive because people do work hard on movies and I don't want to shit all over them, So.
Yeah, the one y'all reviewed recently that y'all shot the review for in the dark. Y'all were struggling at times to find good things about that one.
Yeah, that movie was pretty painful.
That one was. There are sometimes ones where it's hard to find, harder than other times.
Yeah, and then there's varying levels of like bad movies. There's stuff that's like, okay, this is bad, but I kind of enjoy enjoy kind of crapping all over them. Like a Trauma is a case of that. Like that movie really made me mad, but I did enjoy shooting that video because I just got to rip into the film. And then there's stuff like Devil Below or other ones where I'm like, I don't even want to talk about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that I started was because my opinion is so much different than everybody else's. Mm-hmm. At least everybody's in the groups that I'm in, like Facebook and stuff. It's like everybody's all of a sudden decided they love certain movies. Become Christian for a second. I'm going to say Halloween 3.
Hi.
But, all of a sudden everybody has a sudden appreciation for it, and it's like I just can't see what you guys see in it. But like Jason X, I love that movie because it's just so stupid.
It's so dumb.
And so much fun to watch.
And have fun with it.
That all the little things you could really sit and pick it apart just don't matter to me on that one.
Yeah, there are some movies that you can acknowledge, aren't maybe there's a plot hole or something. Revenge is a good one where there's plot holes in it where she should be dead, but because the movie's so good and so much fun, you just go with it. You can give them a pass. One of my favorite movies is High Tension. And that ending, if you look at it really hard, you kind of can. Yeah. So I understand that. Another unpopular one I like is the Rob Zombie Halloween.
Oh yeah, that's probably like your big one.
Yeah, I actually like it, and it's not cool to like it, but I'm gonna tell you honestly, the first one especially. Second one's a little harder to argue, but the first one I will stand up for.
Yeah, see, I agree with you on that one. I hate the first third of it until they get to the asylum, and then certain parts in the asylum when he's a kid. When it's him and Loomis interacting, just those scenes where it's just the two of them, I love those. I think those are so well done. But the stuff with the nurse that makes the snarky comment, his mother comes to visit, not so much.
Yeah.
And I really liked what he did with the third act because he took the main part of the original movie and condensed it down and took out all of the
slower parts.
The slower part, well, the 70s of it.
Yeah.
The
totally.
Not so much slower, but the different pacing of it. The different era.
Yeah.
He modernized it. He took the movie made for the 70s and planted it in 2009.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So that was hit and miss for me, but overall, I would say that that's definitely one that I enjoy.
Mhm.
I do too, and a lot of people and I don't get the hate. Like I can see people having problems with it, but I don't get the hate that movie gets.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, but to each their own.
So, other end of the spectrum on it, what's one that you hate that everybody else loves?
Oh,
God, there's a few. Yeah,
the new It movie.
yeah,
where
it
weren't
2017 we didn't like really at all.
It wasn't bad. It just wasn't for us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't for us. What else? I know there's
Quiet Place.
a
Quiet Place is probably one of the biggest ones from recent memory.
Yeah,
where
that's
we're just in the total opposite direction.
I didn't hate it, but again, just not for us. And we'll tell you if it's not for us. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's one thing I think we're not afraid to tell you, even one way or the
Oh,
other.
well, yeah. Well, the running joke with me is, Halloween's overrated, you
Yeah.
know, which partially is played up for the videos. But I do think the original Halloween's slightly overrated, you know.
Them fighting words, boy.
Them fighting words.
I kind of agree on that.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Like
I
said,
can see
kinda. There are certain elements of it that are so good, but it's so 70s. Actually,
Mhm.
it's kind of 60s. Really.
Yeah, it feels way more of a 60s film a
Yeah.
lot of the time.
It does.
I'm kind of with you on that one, but what do you do when you guys completely disagree? When one of you hates something and one of you loves it?
That has only happened once, as far as I can remember.
With One Cut of the Dead.
Yeah, it was with an Asian film called One Cut of the Dead. I adored it. It was on my best of the year list.
And it was on my worst.
Yeah, that's the biggest polar opposites. But I understand why you didn't like it, and I think you can kind of see why I loved it.
Yeah, that's one thing we could usually, acknowledge. And there'll be some movies that I'm more into that Christian kind of didn't feel, and vice
that always
versa.
will happen. But I think the biggest one where we're just in polar opposite is probably One Cut.
But even the ones we do, I actually like it when Christian and I have different opinions, because I think those really make interesting videos, because we can do it respectfully, and we'll joke around and kid around, but at the end of the day we'll go, okay, this is why it worked for me, not for you.
Yeah.
So you'd think it'd be a bad thing, but I actually think it's good when Christian and I disagree.
Mm-hmm.
From somebody watching your reviews, I agree. For a couple of different points. One, you both bring up different aspects of it. You like one thing, he likes one thing, but also that your discussions on it are very respectful towards each other. And God, so many people in the horror community could take a lesson from that.
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate unkindness and just in anything, not just YouTube, but anything. I hate unkindness. And you got to remember, and that's one thing I always remind Christian of, these people, the actors, everybody who's made the movies put their heart and soul in it. And you want to remember that.
Somebody put a lot of their life and time into this project.
And everyone's different, and people watching it, you don't want to, we'll give you an honest opinion, but we don't have to be a jerk about it.
Yeah. I'm never going to judge anyone for liking a movie I don't like, or vice versa. I always will completely understand. I've always had the mindset of the only opinion that actually matters is your own. That's the only opinion that should matter to you.
Yeah, we just kind of can sort of go
tell you, hey, this is a movie you should check out, or this is one maybe avoid, maybe don't.
But it's a good thing the way you guys do it, because you do bring up the good points, and you do bring up, there was one not that long ago that you guys didn't, I don't remember which one it was, but you didn't really care much for the movie itself. But you kept talking about the atmosphere and the cinematography and, those things you really liked. But as far as the storyline or whatever else it was in it, like I said, I don't remember.
Okay. No problem.
I'd have to go back through all 300 of your reviews to,
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But, it's one of those things where you guys really take the time to, like you said, find at least something good about
we try to.
Most movies,
we try
even if
to.
it's just so bad it's good.
I think the angriest we've ever been at a movie was the Black Christmas remake.
Yeah, that was probably the most angry. You especially were really furious in that video.
Yeah, and I said if it helped anyone, then that was a good thing. But that was the only thing I think I said that was positive.
Yeah, that was your only positive, was you like it cool, but that movie really made you angry.
No, you weren't that happy either.
Well, no, but you were like the standout. You were like fuming by the end of it.
So yeah.
So there's another one that I have a divisive opinion on from most people. I like the 2006 version.
Oh, I love it. That's like my favorite.
And I don't really care much for the original.
I can
And
understand.
I absolutely refuse to see the name only remake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not-
that's you said it exactly. It's name only, and that's the one we were talking about that we just hated.
Yeah. No, you love the 2006 one.
I do.
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite Christmas movies.
And see, I agree with you on that, but if you ever say that, on Facebook, somebody's going to throw eggs at you for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Like if someone said it, I can go, cool, you don't like it, that's cool, and you can tell me why, and as long as you're not a jerk about it, I can understand. I acknowledge it's not a perfect film, but it's a fun film.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. That one that kind of symbolizes the holidays. It's a de-stressor. So
Non-mainstream movies. What's your favorite production distribution house? Like Troma, Full Moon.
Full Moon, I grew up on.
Yeah.
When I was-
I would have to say Full Moon as well.
Yeah.
Especially like their 90s output is just masterpiece after masterpiece, at least especially for the time. Subspecies, Castle Freak, all of the Stuart Gordon collabs.
Yeah, and that's something I remember seeing when I was a little kid, and I liked Full Moon. I knew what it was, and I had a deep respect for it, and even to this day I do.
Yeah.
So
They really.
and we just like go ahead.
I'm
Sorry. Oh no,
I was
I'm
gonna say,
sorry.
they just really did so much with their budget that nobody else at the time was doing.
Mhm.
Plus, being direct to video in those days, they got you with those VHS covers.
Oh yeah, I
Oh,
know.
those covers are great.
They had
I
some
miss
of the best-
VHS covers in general.
Yeah.
those big clamshell covers too. I don't know if you're old enough to remember the big ones, but
Oh yeah, I am. Unfortunate. No, I don't know what you're talking about. No.
No, absolutely.
But no, I get what you're saying. But then that's another thing about our channel. We will talk about like the mainstream horror, but one of the things I'm really proud of is we talk about like
Yeah.
a lot of unknown movies as well.
Yeah, we like to mainly focus on the indie scene because that's where we think the best stuff usually ends up coming from.
And like, yeah, we loved like Get Out that year when then Transfiguration. And as much as we loved Get Out, we thought Transfiguration should have gotten a way bigger shout out.
Because it did a lot of the same stuff, but in a lot more creative ways.
And a lot of people disagreed with us. They said it was too slow, but oh man, that one had such a huge punch for me and stuff. So we like to always try to find the indie stuff too.
Yeah.
Some of it's good, some of it's not.
Yeah. Same thing about the mainstream. Though.
Exactly.
very much. I started the B movies reviews today.
Oh.
But so I did my first one today, and I did Camp Dread. I don't know if you guys have seen that one.
I have. That movie's fun.
It is. It's B movie cheese. I was a little disappointed in Daniel Harris getting top billing on it and only being in the movie for 5 minutes. I hate the bait and switch.
That happens a lot. My favorite example of that is the movie Strippers versus Werewolves. In the poster, big bold credits, Robert Englund. He is in 1 minute of that film. He is in a full 60 seconds.
Yep. It's one thing when they go back and do it, TCM4, things like that where they go back and put their names big on it on the second release of it, or other things. Like there's a movie, can't think of the name of it, but it was like Tom Hanks is in it for 3 scenes.
Oh God, what is
back
that
in
movie?
the early 80s.
Yeah, I know the movie you're talking about. I
And
can't
they
think of
re-
the. I can't think of the
re-released it
name.
with Tom Hanks starring in it. He has like 4 minutes of screen time.
Yeah.
Try to get you to see it anyway.
Yeah, in fairness, though, it probably did boost that movie for just people like, what? Tom Hanks was in a slasher movie in the 80s?
Yeah. It's bad enough he was in a D&D movie.
Oh, God, he is. Oh, no. I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah, that one's coming up for review. I've got to talk about that one.
That'll be a good one.
That'll be fun. That'll be interesting.
That'll be real fun.
I'm going to do a little thing on Troma versus Full Moon, because those were the two that were the biggest in the 80s when I was coming up. You can't do a B movie playlist without covering like Toxic Avenger and Street Trash and all those family movies.
Family pictures.
So the ones that are like that, the ones that are intentionally so bad they're good. The Trauma, the Roger Corman, because he did do some bigger stuff, but he also did a whole lot of, hey, I've got a free weekend. Let's make
Lesser.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Let's make Battle Beyond the Stars or something, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little Shop of Horrors was shot in 3 days.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was literally a $500 budget.
That's true filmmaking right there.
That's true filmmaking, though. You got to respect that hustle.
Yeah.
Exactly. Leftover money from another movie.
That is. It's true. It's not. It's funny, but it's not. That is really.
Yeah, that is kind of really remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take an idea and run with it.
So the ones like that, the ones that are intentionally so bad they're good. What's some of your favorites on those?
This is more
man.
Christian's area.
Well, like, yeah, you say that, but I'm looking at a poster of like Sleepwalkers and Slumber Party Massacre.
Those would be two of mine.
Yeah.
Slumber Party Massacre 2. The first one is legitimately good.
Yeah, there's no so bad it's good qualities in that first one at all.
No, that one's a legitimately good one. I will fight you.
Fair
It's
enough.
a little slow starting, but once it gets rolling, the first one is a legitimate movie.
Thank you.
Fair enough. But is it a random song and dance musical also? No.
No, sadly, no.
So
But yeah,
the
for me-
the second one's definitely so bad it's good, but
Yeah.
Oh, I love the second one.
Second one's a movie, man.
Yeah.
Second one is a movie.
It would be that, and it would be Sleepwalkers. I love Sleepwalkers. That's another one for me.
What was Stephen King smoking when he did that? Probably it still was he still on the coke with that?
No, that
Oh,
was
that
after the alcohol and booze.
Oh, that surprises me.
What about you?
Oh man, I love I love like one of my favorite directors is gosh, why am I blanking on his name right now? Basket Case.
Oh,
Oh,
gosh,
God.
I'm blanking too.
Why am I blanking on his name?
Come on.
Frank Henenlotter.
I just
Henenlotter.
looked that one up the other day.
Yeah, Frank Henenlotter. Frank Henenlotter is like one of my favorite directors, and
Oh,
he
mine
was the
too.
king of like, you could argue so bad they're good, like in weird like art house movies, like, you know, you got your Basket Case, Brain Damage, Frankenhooker. I love Frankenhooker because it is the epitome of just stupid movie. It's like, oh, what's this about? It's Frankenstein, but he takes parts from hookers. Okay, sure, let's make a movie about that. Why not? You know, I love that kind of stuff. And yeah, all-time favorite, so bad it's good movie. Ooh, it might possibly be a movie called, it's from the 60s. It's a sci-fi film called The Green Slime. It's a very different, I believe it was a partial Japanese production, and you can kind of tell because it doesn't have a lot of the American sci-fi tropes in it. It has it's a lot more of an action sci-fi film. There's actual effects, there's monsters everywhere and all that kind of fun stuff. But it has so many great dumb moments, like a space station catching on fire in space. And it has possibly the greatest movie theme song in cinema history. It's this weird funk, like Parliament Funkadelic sounding track just called Green Slime. It's amazing. It's dumb as hell, but I love it.
I like some of the stuff like that too. Some
Yeah.
of that super cheesy on purpose stuff. Like I said, I love some of the Roger Corman stuff.
Oh, yeah.
One of the earliest ones that I saw was Death Race 2000.
Oh, I
I
love Death
I was
Race.
probably like 10 when I saw that, and I've always had an affection for that sort of stuff.
Oh, that movie's great.
Those are. You just have to. You have
Yeah.
to have a little fun sometimes.
You know, and even stuff like Critters and stuff. You know, that's another
Critters.
so bad it's good movie that's just so fun.
I don't think it's so bad.
Oh yeah, no, the obvious Gremlins knockoff isn't a so bad it's good movie.
I can be in denial if I want to be.
Fair enough.
Actually, you know that Critters was actually first, right?
Was it a case where it was in production first and then it got released after?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Oh, that surprises me. I always assume, okay, cool.
So see,
Okay, fair enough. I guess.
you got schooled.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, yeah, just as much as you guys know, and you don't know that one. Come on.
That one, I've never heard that one before. Cool.
Yeah,
You learn something new every day.
it's very likely that they came from the same general source,
Mm-hmm.
the original idea. But yeah, Critters actually went into production.
Oh, cool.
Oh, I did not know that. Cool.
Gremlins
That's
or
neat.
something like that, or went into pre-production or.
It was first.
Nice.
But then, of course, there are so many different knockoffs of it that you can name. You know,
Ghoulies, munchies, hobgoblins.
yeah, all the little puppet stuff.
Very cool though. But they're fun.
Yeah, they have their fun.
You have an affinity for ghoulies.
Oh god, Ghoulies 3.
Oh, those were fun watching
Those
you guys
are.
talk about those
Yeah.
recently. Was that one of the contest entries or something?
Yeah, I did that for
Collector
yeah,
Man, wasn't it?
No, it was for Fiend. It was
Fiend,
for Fiend's
right.
video. Yeah, because his favorite movie set in college, and I
College.
said Ghoulies 3.
Oh, school settings. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
school
School
settings. Yeah.
Yeah, because I did the first Nightmare on Elm Street. That was
That was a good
That was
answer.
actually a really good answer.
that scene. You know, in the hallway, you got a jump scare, but you don't lose the atmosphere in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so hard, for the most part, for people to pull off. And Craven did it in that one, and then almost in the same way parried it in Scream.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
You just couldn't go wrong with Craven though. You just can't.
That's why he's probably like, if not the top, one of the top directors of that era. You know,
Mhm.
he was so talented in everything with how he handled his atmosphere.
yep. That even if the movie was a little bit on the slower side, the atmosphere in it. To me, that's what makes Last House on the Left so difficult to watch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
For me, the assault part of it and the revenge part of it, it's just another movie aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that once the tension starts, there's no let up until the
Mhm.
end scene of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just great that one. You know, even though he was behind the ears, you could really see some genius too in it.
Yeah, he took a lot of those elements and then kind of, in my opinion, perfected a lot of that with Hills Have Eyes.
Exactly.
And-
Yeah. I mean, you can even talk about the atmosphere to a degree in Swamp Thing.
Yeah, you
That
can.
movie has a lot.
Criminally underrated.
Yeah, that's a very underrated movie, honestly,
Yeah.
because it's very unique.
That's a movie that would be a good if you want to get your kids into horror but don't want to go too.
Yeah, it's a really good introduction piece to what Craven kind of feels like without being a full-on horror film,
So,
Yeah.
but still having those elements in there once in a while.
yeah.
Is your youngest into horror? If I can ask about.
Oh yes, you sure can. He is. He is.
Yeah, he-
And I didn't force either boy. Like
Yeah, both of us found it on our. I guess in fairness, he probably got a little hint considering this room.
He lives here.
He lives here in this room. This room wasn't around when I started getting into horror, but yeah.
Yeah, Christian kind of fell on his own with the Universal horror movies
Mhm.
is where he started, and I was a kid that just started. I just loved horror. I was a weird kid who loved horror from a very early age, and the little one, yeah, he knows who Freddy and Jason is, and I don't let him watch some things, but I am letting him see certain things I think he can handle. Yeah.
Well, I've seen him pop in on like your live streams and things like that, but I wasn't sure if
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Oh well, thank you. He does. He'll get a kick out of being mentioned.
As if he doesn't already have an ego.
That's true. Yeah, he's very good at sculptures and stuff, and he's made like little clay Freddy's and Jasons and pretty good ones. I'm biased, of course, but I think they're pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So
There was one of the live streams you did with Martin.
mhm.
He came on the video and Martin was talking to him about some of the stuff that he has
Oh,
done.
yeah.
I remember that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think that was your first live stream that I caught.
Uh-huh.
That was a few months ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Back December or
That was
November?
it was like December. It was either in December or January. Yeah.
Somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But horror's in the family, I guess you could say, or at least in this family.
Yeah.
well, I was born in '73, so I
81.
I got hit with that early because of how big Jaws was. So I saw that one when I was 4 or 5. You know,
Mhm.
when it very first came on cable,
Mhm.
kind of thing. Then my first introduction to what I would call real horror was the first Friday the 13th coming on cable.
Mhm.
So there's another one of my unpopular opinions. I love the original Friday the 13th.
Mhm.
I fully acknowledge it's nostalgia. It's in many ways not the best,
Mm-hmm.
but for me, of the four originals, of the big four for me, that's the one that I would watch the most. That's the one that I enjoy the most.
I can totally understand that.
There's a lot to like about that first movie.
There really is.
It's very much a rough around the edges, but there's a lot of charm and stuff you can really enjoy about the movie. It's probably the most unique of the series.
Mhm.
It doesn't really have the standard formula yet.
And it was a big deal because now it's because everyone knows it, but it was a big deal when it wasn't Jason doing all the killing. That's really a genius part. And people we take it for granted now, but at the time it was wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't a guy, and the way that it's shot, and there's a lot of first person shots in it. Before that was a big thing in horror movies. Before that, got really blown up in the 80s.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you don't know if this is just where the camera happens to be sitting in the woods or if it's the killer's perspective or if it's Crazy Ralph.
Oh, Crazy Ralph.
Out of
It's got a death cuss.
It does.
So I like that aspect of it, and a lot of people kind of shit on that, but I think the difference of opinion versus the norm is one of the main things that really drew me to you guys. Because like you were saying earlier, you're gonna like what you like, and you're gonna tell it. You're not gonna bow down to the everyday opinion.
No, we don't want to, because why watch? That's what we're doing.
It's a horror community. It'd be boring if everybody was just regurgitating the exact same information repeated over and over and just talking about the same 5 movies.
Yeah. That's why we like to do the indie stuff and stuff. Yeah, we're really proud of that we will do different opinions, even if we not popular.
Yeah, well, hell, that's the reason why we haven't even done like a full-on review of any of the Fridays or any of the Elm Streets or anything. We want to talk about the stuff that's lesser known.
Yeah.
That stuff's great. We love it, but
eventually
one day we will talk about them. But we want to talk about, hey, like, check this stuff out. This stuff's also really cool.
Yeah.
Well, that was the reason that why when I started doing those franchises, I did them against each other for each episode.
That's fun.
Instead of
That's a
just
fun
coming
idea.
in and doing, ranking the entire franchise off the start. It was was part one, and how I ranked them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
and I like that.
And then of course it just continued on with all the way through it. I'm fixing to do the 10th one, which will be the final one.
That'll be
I'll
awesome.
get the last 2 Fridays, the last 2 Halloweens, and the Never Hike.
Never Hike's good.
Never Hike's fun.
That has got to be the best made and the best done fan film I've ever watched.
Absolutely
Exactly.
agreed. Absolutely agreed.
He did a great job, and man, his portrayal of Jason is just
Dude, he's one
unnerving.
of the best. He's one of the best Voorheeses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he doesn't say a word, but his body gets it across that he really, really studied and is having a blast. It comes through.
Yeah.
So
who is your favorite Jason?
Ooh.
I'm gonna have to say, because when I was like one of the movies that I saw fairly early, well, my favorite one is Part 7. So
you saw that in the theaters, right?
It wasn't Part 7; it was Part 6.
Oh,
But Part 7 is my favorite. So, and he was in that one. So Kane Hodder. It's cliche, but it's my age, and I also love the design with the back.
Yeah, the design in Part 7 is probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go with Kane. All of them are good though.
They all have their own little charm. Maybe Ted White from Part 4. He's probably the most brutal and most violent of all of them. But I love Kane. I love Vincent DeSante. I think he's great.
He'd be my next favorite.
I can't remember the name of the actor who played him, but the dude who played him in the remake, I thought did a really cool job. I liked him a lot.
I have to say that as far as the portrayals of Jason go, I kind of think that Kurt Singer,
Oh, yeah.
the remake, that I think that his was the best Jason.
Yeah.
That was.
It's not my favorite movie, but
What's your favorite one?
nostalgia's sake, I have to say the first one.
First one.
The first one, yeah.
For Jason movies, it would be 5. Well, no, that's
Ooh.
not actually.
Yeah. Well,
6. I mean, not 5.
Yeah.
It's 5
Well,
for-
actually. Yeah.
And I also respect Kane Hodder for when he went on Arsenio Hall. I remember
God, that
that.
Arsenio Hall interview is so funny.
As Jason, I remember that, and I just, as a little kid, that was just so made me so happy.
Mhm.
I'm old enough to
I saw
remember
that one.
Arsenio.
That was so funny.
That was, and you could tell Arsenio Hall, he either was really leaning into it or he was genuinely unnerved.
Yeah.
A little bit of both sometimes.
Probably,
I think so.
Probably.
And I like his cameo in Goes to Hell.
Oh God, his Goes to Hell cameo is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the idea of that movie. I think there's a really good movie in there.
Same,
I
exact
just don't think
same.
that it should have been a Friday the 13th.
I get that.
I think if they had taken that and just gone full on balls out, that could have been another franchise for that production company. New Line.
New Line.
New Line.
Sorry, brain fart.
It happens to us all.
happens to everybody.
It's been a long day.
I get
I
that.
hear that.
Several of your videos you have talked about your mental health
Mhm.
and some of the struggles that you've had. Has doing YouTube made it better or worse?
It's made it better because the people, like meeting you, and there are other people that I've met in this community that are just so, they're family, they become family to me. And it surprises me, and I'm not like, I can talk and be excited about things and I don't get weird looks. Like,
Yeah, because when we started the channel, you were in a really dark place. You had just ended a long-term relationship, if I remember right.
I did.
Yeah, you were in a pretty dark place.
Yeah, and I was, and it was kind of nice. It was the first time I ever felt like, okay, I'm not this weird girl, I felt like I finally found people that kind of understood me, and took a long time, but and I'm weird. I acknowledge it, but it has helped my mental health. It has, and it's just nice to know, because some people have reached out. Even you just offering to do this interview with us, it really, you don't know how good that made me feel when you asked. So, anything, and people will sometimes go, "Are you okay?" Just people.
Yeah, just people looking out for you.
Yeah. You see an ugly side of YouTube. That's, if you've been long enough, you'll see it, and everyone will see it eventually, but you also see a really caring, and I like that aspect of it.
Absolutely.
And the horror community, you pull together and you find some really great people. So
Yeah, that's one of those things. My second or third video, I had my first few videos were all DIY vape stuff. You can see all my flavor stuff behind me.
Oh, that's what those are. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. And I have personally, sitting at home, I use a mechanical mod. Now that means that there's no inbuilt safeties to it. There's no computer chips. It's literally a battery in a tube. You push the button and it causes a connection.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't build it right, it's dangerous. If you know what you're doing, it's not. It's a super simple circuit. That's all it is to it. But so I'm doing videos on beginner recipe creations and mixing flavors. I'm not reviewing the equipment that I'm using as far as what I'm doing. And I had this troll pop up in chat going off on me about not giving warnings for using that. And it's like,
Wow.
and it's like, I almost stopped. I almost deleted my channel and walked away. Because like I said, I was 3 videos in.
Yeah.
It was just,
You're going to get that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
No matter what community you're in.
No matter what community you're in, no matter how long, some people it will take a while, some people it'll be instant. You'll always get people who just think they know better than you, or just think, oh well, why aren't you doing it this way, instead of saying, watching it and saying, okay, I don't like how this person's doing it, I'm gonna make my own channel and do it myself the way I want to. That's what I always think about. Why don't you just do it? If you don't like how we do it, do it yourself.
And see how easy it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was tough, but it was really kind of cathartic too, because I just said, screw them. I'm gonna make a video that says, hey, here's your warning. This is what you wanted. You got it. Now leave me alone, because what I'm doing is I'm not reviewing the equipment.
Mhm.
I'm showing you how to, add drips. Sorry, camera's that way.
Mhm.
I'm adding 1% of pineapple flavoring to something else.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I get that.
It has nothing to do with the equipment as far as everything else goes, but
I get
so
that.
I'm sure you guys have had troll here and there, and
We have
Yeah.
a few things. Usually with us, we get a lot of religious people.
Yeah, we get a lot of people who really, for some reason, don't like us.
Yeah.
They really don't like us a lot of the time. I guess because a lot of people, I think, is because we're, mother and son. So I guess that probably messes with them a little bit. Like, that's not how family dynamics or traditional family dynamics are supposed to work. They aren't supposed to talk to each other like that. They shouldn't be swearing around each other. They shouldn't be making sexual jokes around each other, Which to me, it can be weird to people, but that's just how our dynamic has always been. Like off channel, like we play kind of slightly exaggerated versions of ourselves on the camera, but that basically is how we act in real life.
Yeah.
That's pretty much us.
And I love both of my boys, but Christian's a very articulate, well-spoken person, but he does cuss, and if that's the worst he does, I think I've raised an okay kid. He's not an asshole. I'd much rather him have a foul mouth than be an asshole or unkind to people.
yeah.
So I've had people tell me that, and I'm like, it doesn't bother me. He knows when it's okay on the channel, and he's very well. He's articulate on the channel too.
I speak pretty.
You speak pretty. So
Yeah, that's articulate and very knowledgeable, but doesn't come across like a snob about it.
No. I'll freely admit I have some pretty awful taste in movies. Are they good movies? No, but I like them.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys have a really good dynamic for the video. If that's, an 11 versus you guys being 8, 7 at home, I'm cool with that because, that's. But I was raised in a house that was fairly free and open as well. So
Yeah.
I think that's better to be.
I guess I could see where some people might, but mostly that's just a problem with them.
Yeah.
They don't like you guys the way you act. That's their problem, not yours.
Mm-hmm.
There's other channels to go to.
Yeah, exactly.
You're one of the few that are 2 people on a channel. Most other reviews that I see is 1 person.
Mm-hmm. It just works.
Yeah, well, originally it was going to be that's why the channel that's why the channel is called, has your name in front of it, and that's, the focus is your solo stuff, but those are hard to pump out occasionally. We can't consistently do it, and then I just came and was like, hey, want to talk about Leatherface or something, basically,
Yeah, and I don't know. I think we bring out like each other's better points.
Yeah, definitely. We've kind of, especially over the years, we've developed a pretty good dynamic, I would say, at least.
Yeah. Not to toot our own horn or anything.
No, that's kind of what this is about anyway. But is some of the people that are following me might not know you guys, and when I get to be able to do the one with Aiden, some of the people who don't, follow him because of the vape stuff that he does on his main channel, but the charity stuff that he does on his second channel, and his wife went through cancer, and he's raised money. Back in October and then this last month for the UK cancer stuff. I want to bring those things up, and if, somebody else wants to follow his channel or somebody else finds you guys,
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you guys see another channel out there and see, hey, they did this really neat thing, if they're in that group, you can go, hey, how did you do that?
And shout them out.
Yeah. Kind of thing. And if somebody like mine, for some of my reviews, I kind of stole from you guys because your splash screen.
You bastard.
Well, that
How
actually,
dare you?
that's very flattering.
The cover, the DVD cover, the movie poster, whatever you want to call it, and then who starred in it next to it. I kind of borrowed that idea from you guys because it works. It's a good thing to put up. It gives you your intro, your start, that, and if somebody's clicked on it thinking that you're doing, the 73 version of Black Christmas and not the 2006 they can click off or
Yeah.
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, no, that's where how the splash screen started mostly was both of us have trouble. We are terrible with names, so we had awful memory. We're awful at remembering people's names. So that's where those started, was just so it could get the information. Hey, here's who's involved in all of this. That's where that came from.
It was your idea.
Yeah.
Just in case you mess up the pronunciation, they can.
That too.
Yeah.
Especially for some of our foreign films.
Yeah. For a lot of foreign films, it's like I can't speak Danish.
Yeah.
I can't even try to pronounce that.
I can barely speak English on good days.
Yeah. Can't we all?
Yeah, I know the feeling. But I mean, that was it's community helping each other and doing things together and helping channels grow. So
Mhm.
Mhm.